Okay, so in last part we had discussed the Vision IAS monthly magazine of August 2025. In that part we had discussed the polity section, the IR section and the economy section. In this part, we are going to cover the remaining sections. Now, before we start, understand one thing. I have compiled this information in a very crisp format. Therefore, when you are revising, revise it from this PDF itself. That will help you a lot in revising things faster. The PDF is available on the Civils Academy app. Check the free material section and you will get the PDF of previous months as well. Okay, now let's start. First is related to high powered demography mission. In a one simple statement, the objective of this mission is to address the problem of illegal infiltration. Now, what is this illegal infiltration? It simply means people are entering into our country through illegal means. Why that is happening? Because we do not have rigid border boundaries. That simply means our border is not fenced, they are porous, and that's why there is infiltration. To address that problem, the government has announced this initiative. Apart from that, government is also considering a national refugee law. As of now, we don't have that kind of legislation. The government has recently given more powers to the foreigners tribunal. Now, what is a foreigners tribunal? If someone, let's say if someone is suspected to be a foreigner, who is going to find that out? So you can complain in this tribunal, and subsequently it is a specialized court. Tribunal is nothing but a specialized court to deal with these issues. So previously it was quite powerful in case of Assam, but now the MHA, that is Ministry of Home Affairs, has given powers to foreigners tribunal throughout India. Next is related to increasing a private sector share in the defense production. Understand, previously we were heavily dependent on the import of defense items. Now government is focusing on Atmanirbhar Bharat. Government is also providing support to the private sector. That's why the role of private sector in the overall defense production is increasing. And the growth rate in last year was 23%. What is the objective? Objective is to achieve the target of 3 lakh crore production. That means items worth 3 lakh crore. That is the target, to produce these items by 2029. What kind of items we are talking about? Defense sector items. By whom? By private sector. Now, why that is happening? Why the role of private sector has increased? Two important things are there. Understand, defense is a very specific industry. Only armed forces are going to purchase it. Getting my point? So the private sector should be able to understand the needs of armed forces. Previously, there was lack of coordination between the security forces and the private sector. That's why the government had set up DMA, Department of Military Affairs, and the post of CDS. This will ensure coordination between our requirements and our production. So, in a simple sense, it will create a connecting link between the demand and the supply. The government has also increased the FDI in defense sector up to 74% through automatic route. More than that, through government approval route. What does that mean? Government route basically means you need prior permission of the government. Automatic route basically means you do not need any prior permission. So up to 74%, it is automatic. Come and invest into our country. More than that, you need prior approval from the government. Apart from that, there is a provision of two defense corridors, one in UP and one in Tamil Nadu. Now, what is the meaning of this term defense corridor or defense industrial corridor? Defense industrial corridor simply means let's say these are five defense production areas. So what we are doing, we are connecting them. This is referred as defense industrial corridor or defense corridor, connecting the defense production areas. That is defense corridor. Next initiative is Sudarshan Chakra mission. In a very simple sense, in one line, it is our air defense system. What does that mean? It simply means, see, with increasing use of technology, the risk of drone has increased. And that's why government want to build an umbrella around our country to protect our country. That is basically referred as air defense system. For example, you might have heard the term Iron Dome, THAAD. These are missile defense system. Similarly, we are developing air defense system for overall security and protection of our country. The name is Sudarshan Chakra mission. So this is going to be comprehensive air defense system which will be developed by DRDO and BEL. Rest everything is quite generic, you need not to mug up. Next is Agni 5. So recently this was test fired. Just remember one thing, that it is IRBM. What is IRBM? Intermediate range ballistic missile. So two kind of missiles are there. One is cruise missile, in which we can control the trajectory, and in case of ballistic missile, basically it is going to have trajectory like this one. So we will be able to control the path till this point. After that it will fall under the gravitational force. Okay, again, just remember one thing, it is nuclear capable surface to surface missile. What does that mean? Surface to surface basically means it will be launched from the surface, and then it is going to hit the target on the surface itself. Then there is air to surface. In a very simple sense, that missile will be launched from air, it is going to hit the target in the ground. Then there is air to air. Air to air basically means you are going to launch from the air itself, and it is going to destroy the target in the air itself. So this is how the terms are specified. Next is some security exercises or military exercise. One is SLINEX. SL itself is self-explanatory, that is related to Sri Lanka. So it is India Sri Lanka naval exercise. Okay, with this, the security part is over. Now let's start the environment section. So in environment, first topic is e-mobility. As the name suggests, E refers to electric mobility. So recently, the Niti Aayog proposed India's first electric mobility index. So this index will reflect the performance of different states in terms of adoption of electric vehicle. So there are three major parameters. One is transport electrification process. That means to what extent state has taken step to electrify its transportation network. In a very simple sense, how much is the adoption of EVs? Second parameter is going to be charging infrastructure, and third is going to be R&I, that is research and innovation. How much is the adoption? How much is the development of charging infrastructure? Because understand, in case of EV there are two major problems. A, for battery we are dependent on imports, especially elements like lithium. And for charging infrastructure we are facing a lot of problems, because we do not have well developed charging infrastructure. Only they are concentrated in major cities, and that's why there is a lack of adoption of these vehicles. As per this ranking, Delhi is on top position, followed by Maharashtra and Chandigarh. Now, the penetration of EV as of now is 7.6%, and the target is to reach to 30%. What are the challenges? Again, the cost of EV is quite high. That is one challenge. Second is depreciation rate is quite high. Depreciation rate basically means after some time, how much will be the value of your vehicle? That means how much value is lost and how much is remaining. The rate of depreciation in case of EV is sometimes 25%, which is way higher than conventional vehicle, which have depreciation rate of 10 to 15%. That means after 4 years your vehicle will have very less value. That's why it will not be able to give you good resale value. So the adoption of EV is quite low, keeping these issues in mind. Next topic is India's resolution on wise use of wetlands. Understand what is wetland? Wetland is a place which is always submerged in water. For the conservation of wetland, there is a Ramsar Convention. Now, recently there was a conference of parties COP15 in Zimbabwe, and that was related to Ramsar Convention. During that conference, India promoted this resolution on wise use of wetlands. The term itself is self explanatory. Wise use basically means yes, we are going to use wetlands, but in a sustainable manner. That means the use of wetland should not threaten their existence. Otherwise, what will happen? They will disappear over a period of time. So that's why we are saying that yes, we need to use them, but in a sustainable manner. And that's why we have also linked it to the mission life. Now, what is this life? Lifestyle for environment. In a very simple sense, we have to adjust our lifestyle so that we do not create problems for our environment. That is, in a very simple sense, harmony between our habits and our environmental existence. The simplest term is sustainable development. We should not overuse our resources today because of our present need. That is it. So in that context, you just need to remember this thing. Now, in this case, remember one mission also. The name of the mission is Mission Sahbhagita. That means let's come together and let's preserve these. Sahbhagita basically means kind of cooperation. Apart from that, there is another initiative named as Save Wetland, which is self-explanatory. Next is related to cloud burst. Cloud burst basically means sudden rainfall. How much rainfall? More than 10 centimeter rainfall in 1 hour at a particular station. This is the technical definition. Now, why it was in news? Because of multiple cloud bursts in the northern India. Okay, now understand, as far as water is concerned, there are various issues. See, because of cloud burst, what will happen? There will be flash flood. Flash flood basically means sudden flood. Since it is sudden, it is very, very difficult to predict it. Therefore, it leads to loss of life, life of human, life of animals, and loss of property also. So you can connect it to the disaster management. Apart from that, there is a issue of dam burst. Dam burst basically means dam is old, the structure is not well maintained, and therefore it was not able to hold the water. Then there are risk of landslide. Now you might wonder how these things are connected. See, in order to achieve faster development, sometimes there is deforestation. Because of deforestation, the soil get loose, and therefore what will happen? If there will be sudden rainfall, the loose soil will not be able to hold up, and therefore it will lead to landslide. Apart from that, there are common issues such as biodiversity loss. So these are some of the issues. Now, some of the news in short. One is India's water management. So, what are the issues related to water management? Understand, water is a state subject. Now, what is happening is that there is a lack of coordination among states and there are interstate water disputes. That's first thing. Apart from that, there are international water disputes also. For example, with Bangladesh, with China. China is working on a dam on the Brahmaputra river. In India, it is referred as Brahmaputra. So China is working on dam project, and we have a fear that China will be able to control the flow of water, which may sometime lead to deliberate flood also. Okay. So, as far as water issues are concerned, there are few issues. One is flood forecasting. As we have seen that in case of flash flood, the forecasting mechanism is not so accurate. So, what is happening is we are not able to warn the local people. So, that's why the Central Water Commission is going to increase the flood forecasting system. Previously, it was 340, now 375. No need to mug up the number, just understand what is happening. Apart from that, we are also going to interlink water. Two benefits: A, we will be able to transfer the surplus water to the river which is deficit. So it will be able to address our water scarcity problem. Plus, we will be able to manage the floods as well. Then dam safety, we have seen the issue of dam burst. So for that purpose, we need to focus on dam safety. But the problematic part is that out of 6,000 plus dams, roughly 450 dams have dam safety plans. That means we are not well prepared. Now you can use it in your disaster management answer, that the intensity of disaster is going to be quite severe if we are not well prepared. Apart from that, we need to promote the rainwater harvesting, because what is happening is that the intensity of rain has changed significantly, so we need to promote the water conservation mechanism. For that purpose, the government is considering a new water policy that will address the issues within our country, and that is going to address the international issues also. Okay. Next is related to Global Outlook Council on the water investment. Understand, it is a initiative of South Africa which was started as a G20 legacy initiative. In a very simple sense, focuses on the investment in the sector of water. Now, last year, Brazil was the host of G20 summit. This year, South Africa is the host. As a part of that G20 summit, South Africa is going to work on this Global Outlook Council on water investment. That means framing new partnership for water conservation. Next is Pollution Control Board. Understand, in a very simple sense, in MC Mehta case, Supreme Court had highlighted the role of clean environment. Okay, now in that context, there is a term, polluter pay principle, which was highlighted by the court in Velo Citizens case. What is this polluter pay principle? If you are polluting the environment, you will have to pay penalty. That is polluter pay principle. Previously, as per the previous judgment of the Supreme Court, the case was that CPCB and SPCB, that is Central Pollution Control Board and State Pollution Control Board, they were not authorized to impose penalty. Especially SPCB. SPCB means State Pollution Control Board. They were not authorized to impose penalty. Now, this is against the concept of polluter pay principle. See, polluter pay principle simply says if you have polluted environment, you will have to pay a fine or penalty or compensation. Now, who is going to decide this fine? So, previously SPCB were not allowed. Now, in a very recent case, Delhi Pollution Control Committee versus Lodhi property, the Supreme Court had said that now SPCB can impose the environmental compensation under the Water Act and under the Air Act. In a very simple sense, previously they were not allowed, now they are. That is the crux of this judgment. Next is related to UNDP Equator Initiative. From Equator, you need to understand that it is focusing on the conservation projects. Okay, because that area is rich in biodiversity. So for that purpose, there is a award given to those communities which are involved in the conservation in a sustainable manner. For that purpose, the SHG, that is self-help group of Karnataka, the name is BB Fatima Women's SHG, that was awarded through this award for its conservation efforts. So just remember one thing, Equator is related to conservation. Next is Awaza Program of Action. Just remember one thing, it is a program for landlocked developing countries. Landlocked and developing. They can confuse you with something else, but ultimately it is, you just need to remember this term, landlocked developing countries. This is the name of place which is in Turkmenistan. So the third United Nations Conference on the Landlocked Developing Countries was organized in Awaza in Turkmenistan, and subsequently this particular plan of action was in use. Next is Sundarban Tiger Reserve. Now understand, recently NBWL, that is National Board of Wildlife, which is headed by Prime Minister, this has approved the plan of expansion of the area under this Sundarban Tiger Reserve. So now after expansion, it is going to be the second largest tiger reserve after the Nagarjun Sagar Sri Salem Tiger Reserve. Nagarjun Sagar Sri Salem is situated in Andhra Pradesh. So this Sundarban is going to be the second largest after the expansion of the area. Next is Matri 1 initiative. 1 basically means forest. So this is a afforestation program which has been started in the Haryana, in Gurugram specially, to develop the urban forest near the Aravalli Hills. Next is Italian hydroelectric project. So this is going to be in Arunachal Pradesh. This was in news because it is being opposed by the local communities. Why they are opposing it? Because of the fear of displacement. So it is going to be in Dibang Valley in Arunachal Pradesh. Next is some volcanic eruptions were in news. One is Mount Levotobi, which is in Indonesia, and second is Mount Kilwa, which is going to be part of, I think, USA. Yes, it is in Hawaii in USA. And next is Drake Passes. So it was in news because of earthquake, but the geographical location is quite important. So this is South America, this is Argentina, Chile, and this is Drake Passes. This is Antarctica. So with this, we have covered the environment section. Now let's jump to the social issues section. Again, social issues information. This information is useful from your GS paper 1 and GS paper 2. In GS 1, there is a aspect of society. In GS paper 2, there is an aspect of social justice. Okay, now let's start. First is related to urban migration. See, urban migration basically means people are migrating from rural area to urban area. Rural migration basically means reverse migration. For example, in history, you might have covered that there was reverse migration because Britishers destroyed our industries, which led to deindustrialization. Employment was not available in urban area. People started migrating back to rural area. This is reverse migration. In rural area, they were dependent on agriculture, so this increased the pressure on the agriculture. Now, this was in news because of a research which was conducted by IIT Indore. So it reflected why, what is the pattern in rural to urban migration. First thing first, understand there is a term circular migration. Circular migration basically means, okay, this is point A, this is point B, and you are going to B and coming back. Why this is happening? Especially in case of seasonal employment. So in certain season, employment opportunities are available at point B. You will go there, you will work, but this employment is not available throughout the year. So you will have to come back. For example, during cultivation and harvesting season, there is a migration of workers from Bihar to states like Punjab and Haryana. But this is agricultural work. This is not available throughout the year. So what will happen? After completing this work, they will go back. So this is nothing but a circular migration. Okay. Now let's have a look at the migration pattern. So what are the factors which are responsible for urban migration as per 2011 census? Majority of the migration are because of marriage. That means the person got married and that's why they are shifting to new home. Then there is a movement with the household. That means entire family is going on. Then because of work, then there is a movement after birth, and very small percentage move because of educational opportunity. That means to get better opportunity. Next is related to Adi Karam Yogi Abhiyan. This term Adi reflect tribal communities. So we are developing a workforce who are ready to work for the development of tribal communities. That is the objective of this initiative. So this has been launched by MOTA, that is Ministry of Tribal Affairs, to create a tribal grassroots leadership. Under this, a cadre of workers of 20 lakh leaders will be developed across the country. So there are three pillars of this leadership. Again, this is important from your mains perspective. You can use it. Adi Karam Yogi, that is government officials. We are focusing on capacity building of government officials so that they can help us in the empowerment of tribal communities. Then there is Adi Sahayogi. Sahayogi basically means co-partner kind of thing. So we are creating youth leaders, teachers, social workers. And then there is Adi Sathi. Sathi basically means friend. So we are creating a layer of SHG tribal leaders in the tribal areas. Now, some news in shorts. First is Matri scheme. What is this Matri? Multidisciplinary education and research empowerment improvement in technical education. Name itself is self-explanatory. We are talking about the improvement in technical education. Just remember this thing. It is going to be related to Ministry of Education. Next is Kerala became the India's first 100% digitally literate state. That means people are digitally aware. So the name of the project is Akshay project. This was launched to increase the digital literacy. Initially, it was launched in Malappuram district, and it became India's first illiterate district. Next is related to RGI. Who is RGI? Registrar General of India. So RGI is an authority under MHA. It is responsible for registration. Technically, it issues guidelines related to registration of birth and death. Why it was in news recently? Because it had issued guidelines to the states to ensure universal registration of birth and death so that we can have a centralized database. With this, the social issues section is over. Now let's start the science section. So first is space program of India. Now recently there was a special discussion on the role of space program for the goal of Viksit Bharat by 2047. In this there was a discussion on the key experiment. Recently our Mr. Shubhanshu Shukla, he visited the space station, International Space Station, as a part of Axiom 4 mission, which was a kind of joint initiative of NASA and SpaceX. Now, this is quite crucial for our image as a Vishwa Bandhu Bharat. That means India is a friend of everyone. We are a global friend. So that is kind of our soft power. You can use this in your IR section as well. Okay, so he visited ISS as a part of Axiom 4, and he is the first astronaut to visit ISS and second astronaut to visit the space after Rakesh Sharma. Now, to promote the sector, the government had approved 100% FDI in the space systems. And there are two important agencies. One is NSIL, that is New Space India Limited. So this is the commercial arm of ISRO. What does that mean? It simply means it will take money and it will launch space related programs. For example, if any country need our help to launch their satellite, we are going to help them. We are going to charge money for that, and the entire thing will be coordinated using NSIL. Next is in space. In space is actually Indian National Space Promotion and Authorization Center. So understand, this is going to be the commercial branch, and this will act as a link between ISRO and private sector. So this is the connecting link between ISRO and private sector. Next is India's first commercial Earth observation satellite. Commercial basically means what? It has been launched by some private company, not by ISRO. So recently, the Pixel Space India Limited led consortium. Consortium basically means multiple companies are coming together. So they have won the contract for Earth observation satellite. The name itself is self-explanatory. The satellite is going to observe the Earth. So this is under triple P. What is triple P? Public-private partnership. So this was a proposal by InSpace. What was InSpace? We have just covered. InSpace is the connecting link between the ISRO, that is government entity, and the private sector. This is how we are referring it to triple P. Next is related to ISRO inaugurate Hope analog mission in Sokar Valley in Ladakh. Now understand, what is this Hope? Hope basically refers to Himalayan outpost for planetary exploration. Let me give you a very basic explanation. Let's say we want to explore Mars. For that, we need to conduct a lot of trials. Now, for those trials, we need environment which is similar to Mars. So that initiative, this Hope initiative, is trying to do the same thing. So we are setting up our infrastructure in those areas which have similar properties. Why we have selected Ladakh for this purpose? Because of the similar conditions like Mars. So that is the name, Himalayan Outpost for Planetary Exploration. We want to explore other planets. For that, we have set up a kind of office, kind of branch where we will conduct these trials so that we can understand what is going to happen in those conditions, how we are going to cope up if we are launching any mission there. That is the objective. Okay, why we have selected this particular valley? Because of Mars like conditions. Again, you need not to mug up everything. Next is related to ISRO's heaviest rocket. Understand, we are having two major missions in the coming time. One is we are going to launch our own space station, and we are going to launch the Chandrayaan mission. For that, we need more advanced launch vehicle. Launch vehicle basically means it is going to launch our mission. That is launch vehicle. So that is the name of this launch vehicle. That is LMLV. That is lunar. Lunar basically means moon. Lunar module launch vehicle. The name itself is self-explanatory. It will be ready by 2035. So this is going to be most powerful launch vehicle of ISRO as of now. And in 2040, the objective is that by 2040 we are going to launch our first human moon mission. Apart from that, by 2035, I think we are going to complete this project as well. Bharatiya Antariksh Station. That simply means our own space station. Right now, we don't have our own space station. There is International Space Station, which is a joint collaboration of multiple countries. Next is EU AI Code of Practice on GPAI. First thing first, what is GPAI? That is General Purpose AI. Now, understand, these tech companies, they will play a big role. How this AI is going to function, how the user data will be stored, how it is going to be used. For that purpose, recently these multiple tech companies, they have signed a voluntary kind of declaration, and that is referred as EU AI Code of Practice. That means how you are going to use this data or how you are going to practice when it comes to AI. In a very simple sense, let's say you are a new doctor, how you are going to practice. Similarly, you are using AI, so how that will be used. So why it was in news? Because recently 26 major technical companies, they have signed this EU Commission's AI Code of Practice. Now understand, recently EU, that is European Union, became the first entity to regulate AI. Apart from that, recently Japan also announced its regulation. The regulation of EU are based on risk, or they are referred as risk-based regulations. What does that mean? If it is too risky, we are going to regulate it a lot. Let's say I'm oversimplifying it. If out of 10, risk is 8, so regulation will be tight. It will be similar to out of 10, 8 regulation. If risk is only 2, regulation will be 2. This is the meaning. Okay. This is risk based regulation. Next is brain computer interface. Understand in a very simple sense. Let's say, let's consider one example. Let's say I'm very lazy. You need not to say I'm actually very lazy and I want to turn on light. I will have to get up and then turn on. With the help of this BCI, I will just think I need to turn on light. My brain signal will be translated by this system, and then the light will be turned on. Brain computer interface. So what will happen? The brain will send a signal. I am willing to do this thing. The computer is going to decode that signal and then action will be taken. That is the mechanism of this BCI in oversimplified sense, of course. Next is related to annual FASTag pass. Now understand, FASTag is a mechanism to collect the toll that works on the basis of RFID. What is RFID? Radio frequency identification. Now, the Road Transport Ministry has announced a new initiative. Through that, you can purchase the annual pass for FASTag. It is going to be one-time fees of 3,000 rupee, and it is going to valid for 1 year or 200 toll crossing. Next is related to Hyperloop system. Understand, Hyperloop is a kind of train in a tube. It is going to be very high speed train. For that purpose, recently the Maharashtra government has signed a deal with IIT Madras startup. What is the name of this startup? TUTR. This is TUTR Hyperloop Private Limited. So as a part of this project, what we are trying to connect the JNPT, that is Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust, to the Vadhva port. It is going to be, understand, it is going to be very fast train in a very simple sense. Why it is going to be in tube? Because that way we will not be facing any problem of any kind of conflict or accident. Now the concept of hyperloop is proposed by Elon Musk as a ultra high speed train. You might have seen this kind of train in movies, especially movies which are related to, let's say, Japan, US, or something like that. They are based on magnetic levitation. Next is STRACE initiative. What is this STRACE? State Health Regulatory Excellence Index. In a very simplified sense, how good is the regulation related to health sector in states? So Niti Aayog is compiling this. That this state is having good regulation, moderate, poor regulation. How we can improve them. So this is regulation or drug regulatory system. Again, it is launched by Health Ministry, not by Niti Aayog. It is launched by Health Ministry. Drug regulatory basically means medicine related or medical equipments related. So it was proposed by CDSCO. What is CDSCO? Central Drug Standards Control Organization. It is the apex regulatory body for the drugs and medical equipments. Now coming to culture part. So we have covered the science and technology part. Okay, in culture part, one is Goswami Tulsidas. Why he was in news? Because of 500th birth anniversary, which was celebrated in Chitrakoot. Again, he was known for Ramcharitmanas. He wrote this in the Audhi dialect of Hindi. Apart from that, this Ramcharitmanas is included in the Memory of World Asia Pacific Regional Register. Understand one more thing. His philosophy was of social equality. Everyone is equal. There is no difference. And he criticized caste system. That is natural extension of this social equality part. If you believe in social equality, you won't believe that we are unequal. So of course, that will go against the notion of caste system. Okay. Now he also believed in formless God. Formless God basically means God does not have a fixed form, and the supreme reality is formless and propertyless. Okay, next is 100 years of Kakori train action. So this 2025 is 100 years of Kakori train, which the particular event happened in 1925 near Kakori, or at Kakori near Lucknow in Uttar Pradesh. The revolutionaries of HRA, they executed it. Subsequently, over a period of time, Britishers tried to arrest them, and they were punished. After some time, this HRA, that is renamed as HSRA, that is Hindustan Republican Association, that was renamed as HSRA, that is Hindustan Socialist Republican Association. Again, this is part of history. You need not to go through current affairs in detail in history part. You are going to revise it in your history itself. Just add one information there that it has completed 100 years, so there is a possibility of question. That's it. Rest everything is already covered in spectrum. Next is gallantry award. So these are the awards which are announced for the recognition of bravery. Now, understand they are conferred by the president. Why president? Because president is the supreme commander of our armed forces. So they are announced twice. Once on the occasion of Republic Day, another on the occasion of Independence Day. Now there are three categories: Paramveer Chakra, Mahavir Chakra, and Veer Chakra. Next is Commonwealth Games. So India is planning to host these games in 2030, and the proposed host city is going to be Ahmedabad. Next is Vittal Bhai Patel. So recently he was in news because 100 years ago he became the first elected Indian president of Central Legislative Assembly in 1925. Central Legislative Assembly basically means in that time it used to be kind of central parliament. Okay, so he became the first elected Indian person or first elected Indian president of this assembly. And that's why he was in news. He was the elder brother of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, who was our first home minister and referred as Iron Man of India. Next is National Film Festival. Again, recently it was announced. It was 71st National Film Awards. So this is established by the government of India and it is conferred by the president. In the category of film, there is Dada Sahab Phalke Award. As far as films are concerned, understand there is a CBFC, Central Board of Film Certification. This is the certification body. It provides certificate to different movies, and it is kind of going to decide whether this particular movie should have this scene or not. Ideally, it was supposed to be a certification body that you will get this certificate, and this certificate. Criticism is that it became a censorship body. Certification means doesn't matter what you are showing, we will allow you. We will just upgrade the certification that only adults can watch it, only kids can watch it, or something like that. Censorship basically means you are not going to show this part of the movie. You cannot show this. So that is something which you need to keep in mind. Next part is related to the government schemes. So two, three schemes were in news. First is Pradhan Mantri Viksit Bharat Rozgar Yojana. Rozgar basically means related to employment. So as a part of this initiative, the government is going to provide incentive to the employee as well as to the employer. First thing first, since it is related to employment, it is an initiative of Ministry of Labor and Employment. So government is going to provide support. Support for whom? Support for employees and support for employers also. What is the objective? Objective is to focus on creation of 3.5 crore jobs over the period of 2 years. So these are two important provisions. How much support is given? 1 month EPF. EPF, what is EPF? Employee Provident Fund. 1 month EPF weighs up to 15,000 is given in 2 installments. And how much is support? How much support is provided to employers? That means job creators. So up to 3,000 rupee per month. Next is Pradhan Mantri Ujjwala Yojana. This Ujjwala, just remember this keyword, this is related to LPG connection. So under this scheme, the government is providing LPG connections to the BPL families. What is BPL? Below poverty line. How poverty line is decided? On the basis of recommendation of Tendulkar committee. Okay, since it is related to LPG, so of course the ministry is going to be Ministry of Petroleum and Natural Gas. Okay, with this, the schemes part is over. Now coming to the places in news. So we have covered them, but in the end of the magazine, the institution has given some good maps. So I have taken it from the Vision IAS Monthly magazine itself. They are not mine. Okay, first is related to Ladakh. We have already covered. It was in news because of that HOPE mission. What was HOPE? We are setting up a system, analog system, so that we can replicate the conditions which are there on the other planets. Apart from that, there was a joint expedition of Mount Kangju. Next, Uttarakhand was in news because of the cloudburst. Jammu and Kashmir was in news because Dal Lake in Jammu and Kashmir is going to be the host of first ever Khelo India Water Games. Just remember this thing. This can be asked. Next is related to UP. So Kakuri train we have just covered. Next is related to Gujarat. So Gujarat was in news because of indigenously. Indigenous means made in India. Green hydrogen power plant. This was commissioned at Kandla port. Two important things. Green hydrogen means what? So we are splitting hydrogen using renewable energy. That is green hydrogen. Second, Kandla port is Asia's first export processing zone. Next is related to Kerala again. It became India's first 100% digitally literate state. Kerala was also in news because they have set up a commission for elderly people. Why they have decided to do so? Because they have controlled their population earlier, and now the proportion of senior citizens is increasing. So to take care of the need of senior citizens, they have set up this commission for senior citizens, and it became the first state to do so. Now, some global news. Again, we have covered Alaska was in news because of the summit between the Putin and Trump. Then this Tebessa province was in news because of earthquake. It is situated in Algeria. So this is Africa, and this is Easter Island. This was in news because of the rising sea level. See, small islands are facing the risk of kind of submergence because of the rising sea level. What is happening? Because of greenhouse gases, the temperature is increasing. Because of increasing temperature, the glaciers are melting. Because of the melting of glaciers, the water level is rising. Because of rising water level, there is a risk of submergence of these small islands. That's it. And last is related to this Tuvalu. So this is kind of island. First, let's have a look at the geographical location. This is Australia, and this is Tuvalu. Now, what is happening is that it is facing the risk of submergence, and that's why they have signed an agreement with Australia. What will happen? The people will migrate over a period of time to Australia. So this country is facing its existential crisis. They have signed agreement with Australia, and last is related to New Zealand. Nothing much. The first India New Zealand defense strategic dialogue held in New Delhi. So with this month's magazine is over. Now understand, if you are preparing for UPSC, you just need to cover two things. A, cover this magazine on regular basis. I have compiled this for your faster revision. Apart from that, just follow the daily current affairs video in which I try to summarize the entire The Hindu newspaper in roughly 10 to 12 minutes. These two sources should be more than sufficient if you follow them religiously. Now, just before prelims, there will be a lot of compilation. Those compilation will act as a filler. Filler basically means you have already covered the major parts. Now just add few factual information into that. That will be more than sufficient. If you will try to read those compilations for the first time, you are going to face a lot of problem. Reason being that will be information overload. So right now, just cover newspaper video on daily basis. Cover these monthly videos to cover up the entire monthly magazine, and then at the end you can cover the compilation like PD365. And similarly for mains, if you have any problem related to your UPSC preparation, please write down in the comment section and I will try to respond. Thank you and have a great day.